Introduction. Plastic is a material that all people have known for decades. It's a strong material that helps people in their day-to-day lives. It ranges from a simple water bottle to the airbags inside cars. Its adaptability allows it to be used in so many different ways to improve our life. It's not an exaggeration that plastic is one of the most accessible material for everyone. Structures such as school buildings, malls, and houses are made by using concrete and sand or gravel as its primary materials. The sturdiness and its reliability are the reason why it's usually preferred than wood. But no matter how strong the material is, it still has its limits. Since plastic nowadays are abundant and most of them are just discarded after one use, using plastic as a material to strengthen and improve the durability of structure is something worth trying. The researchers learned that using plastic bottles on structures as retrofitting material might be a good way to improve the structural durability when applied. The use of recycled plastics that are already used in creating structures like schools are already present in our world. Now, because of the pressing matter of plastic waste affecting the population, using the discarded plastic can become one of the best ways to recycle used plastic. Conceptual framework. The study is conducted to test the effectiveness of using plastic bottles to strengthen the durability of existing structures. The plastic bottle, or PET, were the independent variables, while the strength and durability would be the dependent variables as shown in Figure 1.
Significance of the study. We are surrounded by plastics. Much of our furniture, clothing, electronics, and food packaging is made from it. Over the past decades, plastic bottles become abundant because many products like soft drink, drinking water, and energy drink use plastic bottle as a container. With this research, we can end up the plastic bottle pollution. We can lessen up the 80% of plastic bottles ending up in landfills and oceans. It will reduce or eliminate negative impacts and can create positive impacts on our climate and natural environment.
Methods of research. Research design. The post-test control group design was employed in this study. In this design, subjects are randomly selected and assigned to the two groups, control and experimental, and only the experimental group is treated. This design was utilized because data is collected only once after the experiment is done. Description of research instrument used. The true experimental method of research was incorporated in this study since the researchers will rely on statistical analysis to approve or disapprove a hypothesis. Material requirements. First, PET bottles. The polyethylene terephthalate bottles used in this study were 100% recyclable and usually had been used as bottles and containers for packaging a wide range of food products and other consumer goods. Examples include carbonated soft drinks, alcoholic beverages, detergents, cosmetics products, pharmaceutical products, and edible oils. Second, pultrusion machine. Pultrusion machines are commonly used to process plastics to produce fiber-reinforced polymers. Pultrusion utilizes composites that are reinforced with long strands of fiber. The woven fibers give a composite good strength in many directions. The polymeric matrix holds the fibers together. FRP pultrusion are used in a range of applications across various industries, for they can be manipulated to imitate the useful properties and leave out the inferior properties of conventional materials. And lastly, concrete test specimen. In accordance with ASTM C31, or the making and curing of concrete test specimens, the apparatus used was cylinder molds, tamping rod vibrators, mallet, small tools, slump apparatus, sampling receptacle, air content apparatus, and temperature measuring devices. Experimental details. PET bottles were collected, ground into smaller components, melted and pulverized in order to get granules of plastics of about 1 mm size. After being pulverized, it undergoes extrusion process to produce sheets with a temperature of 270 to 290 degrees Celsius. Polyethylene terephthalate were dry for 2 to 4 hours at 120 degrees Celsius before processing as containers. Blow mold is the process that is used for transparent bottles and has to undergo. Mold temperature should lie between 10 and 50 degrees Celsius. The concrete cylinder specimen samples were wiped with dry cloth prior to application of epoxy. The epoxy was mixed in equal ratio for 5 minutes. A first coating of 262 grams of epoxy is applied by a brush to the concrete specimen sample, resulting in an approximately 0.25 mm thick epoxy. The sample will be wrapped by the fiber in a spiral manner until the sample is covered with the fibers and before the epoxy dries. Then, another application of 262 grams of epoxy was performed to sandwich the fibers between the layers of epoxy.
Laboratory experiment. In this research, two groups were held under experimentation. The first group is the control group containing the same applied amount of strip polyethylene terephthalate bottle in the concrete specimen. The second group, which is the experimental group, contains varying applied amount of strip polyethylene terephthalate bottles in the concrete specimen. Both will test the effectiveness of PET bottle as retrofitting material to increase strength and durability of the structure. In particular, it will also test if varying the amount of strip polyethylene terephthalate bottle in the mixture affect its strength and durability as a retrofitting material. The researchers will test the effectiveness of strip polyethylene terephthalate bottle as retrofitting material using the American Society for Testing and Material C39/C39M-99, which the compressive strength test of cylindrical concrete specimens. For the process flow chart, the researchers firstly define and design the problem. After defining, the researchers identify the objective to be followed. Afterwards, the researchers start gathering the data needed. After getting the enough information, researchers start to plan the experiment according to the data that has been gathered. After planning the experiment to be held, researchers conduct the experiment according to the American Society for Testing and Materials, which is the compressive strength test. After the test, the researchers analyze the findings.